Hey, what's going on? What is going on, crypto people? It's the Crypto Siege with another day in the life and the crazy life that is the digital asset space. Good evening. Happy Friday to you. Yeah, guys, I'm excited to share a little. Listen, this is 3 interviews, what I call some of the smartest people in this business, kind of like a macro perspective, a really, really good macro perspective. Even though one of them may or may not really kind of be a fan of XRP, it's kind of interesting to hear a little bit of a perspective as well. Like I call it the macro investor's perspective of the digital asset space. So we're going to go over that. I listened to all 3 of these interviews earlier today, and they're short interviews while I was at the gym. And I found it fascinating. Again, a way to kind of get the bigger picture of what's really, really going on in the space, right? So one of them is Michael Saylor. We're going to listen to and hear from him. The other is what is his name? Simon Dixon, and the other one is Alex. So Simon Dixon is from Bank to the Future. Obviously, Michael Saylor is from MicroStrategy. The guy's been in the news quite a bit, and then it's Alexander from I think it's Nugget News. We're going to hear a little bit from him as well. So, but just as really, it's a good time to hang out tonight. It's Friday night. Definitely a time to hang out. I'm excited I get to see Miss Crypto Siege tomorrow. So excited about that as well. So we're going to get into those guys. We're going to talk a little bit about the overall picture for the digital asset space for sure. From a macro investor's point of view and perspective. And I think it's a be great food for thought. So guys, let's roll the intro and let's get into this. All right, guys, listen, again, happy Friday to you. I just hope that you're so excited about the digital asset space. I was watching a guy earlier today on Facebook talking about ETH 2.0, and he was excited about it. He said that interest was 13%. Now, I heard earlier today from Alice Mashinsky, rewards 13%, that it was 8%. So I don't know which one it is. But in either case, they were both kind of excited about ETH 2.0. Did you guys know that Alice Mashinsky put the last 25,000 ETH into the ETH 2.0 protocol, whatever you want to call it, in order for them to meet the mark to be able to do the ETH 2.0? Did you guys know that? Alice Mashinsky from Celsius, 25,000 ETH. Into it so that ETH 2.0 would make it and go on, because there was a certain requirement for ETH to even have it go forward, and he put the last 25,000 ETH in. XRP Gal, did they really do that? Good to see you in the stream tonight, miss, for sure. I mean, I just found out today that Celsius is now available in New York. When did that happen? Because did I answer? Didn't I talk to you on the I think I responded to something on the AMA from you. So you said it is available now. And so when you say like it is available, but wasn't your question about XRP? XRP Gal, wasn't your question more like about XRP? Because I think it's only like Bitcoin and Ethereum in New York in terms of the app. What's going on, Big John? Ho, ho, ho. Hello, Siege. What's going on, Director Anterior Hip? Direct Anterior Hip, I should say. Good to see you tonight. Started making. Hello, my friend. Hello, XRP family. So we got to clarify. That aspect though. Two months ago, just found out today on Ask Alice Anything. Yeah, I was on there with you. I think I responded to your tweet. But because my brother-in-law is in New York and he can't do anything with XRP. He can, I think he can do BTC and ETH there, but nothing with XRP. And I thought that was your question. Okay, so it looks like I can transfer it. Yeah, and what you can do is scroll down on the app and see like available coins. If you scroll down to the bottom of the app and there's a little arrow there for available coins, and if XRP is there, then yep, you can transfer. Yeah, it's not a whole lot of purchasing that you can do on the app. I think it's 6-8 coins, something like that. So you're saying you can deposit there. That'd be cool. Interest is interest, right? That'd be cool. Yeah, I mean, most of the time they recommend going elsewhere for your purchases, even though they're trying to get the third party fees. They keep negotiating and getting them down as low as possible. That type of thing. But some states, like in the state I am in Virginia, I can't do ACH. I can only do my bank card, right? So, which is a little bit more in the fees. And so I go elsewhere for most of my purchasing. But that's great news. That's great news. Yeah, definitely check the app, scroll down, bottom right, hit that arrow, available coins, and see if XRP is there. If it's there as an available coin, you certainly can do that. What's going on, A. Joseph C? Jamarcus South is in the building. What's good, bro? Texas crypto. Did you hear Celsius is getting down to Austin, Texas? They're actually going to put an office in Austin, Texas. I find that to be interesting. Really, really interesting. Because that's one of the destination spots for me and Miss Crypto Siege. It's on the list. Carlos Jacobo, what's up, my friend? Good to see you tonight. Hello, crypto man. Coach Reese is here. What's good? Morris Prince is in the building. Paper Habits, there you go, my friend. Appreciate you hanging out tonight. Smash the like, guys. Let's definitely do that. TJ Jackson is in the building. Yeah, so I'm really excited to kind of hear from some macro guys. And I always think it's good to kind of get their perspective because a lot of times, people in the space can have a level of bias. And I think from people coming out from a macro perspective, it can help to kind of give us different perspectives to keep us well-rounded, right? And that is hugely important that we have a well-rounded point of view when we're looking at this stuff, right? So we're definitely going to hear from Michael Saylor. We're going to hear from, I'll keep forgetting his name, Simon Dixon from Bank to the Future. And that dude actually called what's going on in 2020. He actually wrote the book in 2010 and called it in 2010. Pretty impressive. And we'll listen to a little bit from Nuggets News. Again, he may have a kind of a bias against XRP, and I think sometimes it's important to listen to people that might have a bias against XRP. I got to tell you though, guys, I got to figure out a way. I think I'm just going to email support. Maybe they'll get it to him. Again, XRP Gal, he said again that Ripple was dumping XRP on the community. He said it again. Like, I got to figure out a way to get this message across to him. I'm going to reach out to Mickey B. Fresh and get some pointers on really trying to really bring that home to him, because he keeps saying that like he doesn't even know about the contractual or when they do release over the counter about the contractual agreements that are put in place to prevent dumping. Like it's very frustrating. It is very, very frustrating for sure. Crypto Eddie covered this morning, guys. I don't know if you know, but she covered that one of the Ripple partners, actually two Ripple partners, are working on the ODL, if you will. It's on RippleNet. Neom is the ODL partner, but bringing more liquidity into the Filipino market via Neom and another partner that is actually on RippleNet. So that is exciting to see. You're going to hear something from Bank to the Future. Simon Dixon from Bank to the Future talking about CBDCs and API and his view is his future call for what's going to happen. And I need to find the webinar. Anybody know The webinar from Ripple, where they talked about the CBDC on the ledger and how it was plug and play. You remember that webinar that they did? I got to see if I can find that somewhere, because I got to tell you, he definitely needs to tune into the live stream, XRP Gal, because I got to tell you, it fits right in line with what Ripple is doing. So Simon Dixon, what he said was going to happen with central banks, it fits exactly in line with what Ripple is doing. And hopefully, I have that here somewhere. I may have to go to my email to find that little part in the webinar where this guy talks about it. And I don't even know if it's like still available or not. But you guys remember when there was like this webinar, it was on Twitter, where the guy talked about the plug and play, essentially plug and play for central bank digital currencies to create central banks to create a central bank digital currency on the XRP ledger. I'm trying to see where I might have it. Yeah, when I saw that and I heard Simon Dixon from Bank to the Future, I'm like, that sounds exactly like what Ripple was doing. Central banks unveil framework plans for hybrid digital currency. That's not it. I definitely want to find that for you guys. It looks like I may. Hey, baby girl. Looks like I'm going to have to go to my email to find it. So, I'm doing a live stream.
Hi.
In any case, I definitely want to play that, and I want to play that webinar if I can find it in my email. So, guys, do me a favor, hit the like and subscribe if you haven't already. Who's excited about what's going on in the market right now? I did get a chance to listen to BC Backer. And yeah, it's the market is doing pretty much what it should be doing, right? So I'm really happy about that. So Bitcoin's at 22,700. Awesome. Going to range in that. It feels like it's going to be ranging in that area, which is cool. XRP is at 56.5 cents. Litecoin is at $107. Look at Ripio doing a little something. I got rid of Ripio though. All right, let's see what we got. Anchor. Yep. Wow. Yep. Interesting stuff there. What's going on? EGLD, 25 bucks. That's down. Crypto JS. What's up, my friend? What's up, Rasheen B. Wealthy? Yeah, another day, another crypto dollar. Intro to the lady boss. intro to that. Yeah, that's little Miss Crypto Siege. She just came from hanging out with her friends. For sure. But what's going on there? Looking forward to the next 10 plus years. There you go, one-eye jack of all trades. That's what I'm talking about right there. That's the long-term vision. Looking forward to the next 10 plus years. And that is the deal, really. And we're in an opportunity, guys. I mean, I don't know if you know, but this 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 a month. What's that?
It's a blanket. I got it from Ulta.
Awesome. Right. Just $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month in residual and passive income. Like that is a reality. That is not a reality. I should say that's a reality in the market. A big time possibility in this market. I am not familiar with the rewards of ETH 2.0. I'm only familiar with what the rewards are from Celsius. But the ETH 2.0 is a way to take advantage of that as well. But passive income, and this 10,000 a month and 20,000 a month thing is not as far out there as people might think. And I hope people really understand that. It's really not that far off. So I don't know about this 13% ETH point 2.0 in rewards or staking, whatever. Because again, Alex Mashinsky said it was 8%. So we'll see. That's right, Crypto JS. I love that. Make it happen to full potential on this run. Yep. Then use all the knowledge to grow into generational wealth for you and yours. Leave a crypto legacy. And that is exactly in the position that we're in, my friend. It really, really is. It really, truly, truly is the position that we are currently in, Crypto JS. And thanks for sharing. I mean, that is the thing. And I want you guys to really think about that. The idea of being able to hold the asset, that asset, and still have 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 a month. That potential is there. That's there. And we say on the Crypto Caesars channel, one of Crypto Caesars' goals is right now that accredited investor, right, is a benchmark because getting into Coinbase, getting into Uphold, right, getting into Ripple, right, getting into these fintech Uphold. Did I say that already? So it's Coinbase, Uphold, Ripple. These maybe the Kraken exchange. Celsius is going to go public. They're going to go public, right? So, being able in a position to kind of get into those, right? From that accredited investor standpoint and having the cash flow to do it, and especially the idea of the passive cash flow every month coming in and, 10% here, 10% there, 10% there. Right, and taking advantage of what's going on. And so any of you guys check out retirementplanb.com. Anyone check that out yet? Speaking of a macro picture, anybody check that out? Julian Flash is here. What's going on, Julian Flash? Good to see you tonight, brother. Yeah, absolutely blessed. Indeed, we're blessed. Yeah, man, crypto. Indeed, we're blessed. Indeed. Good to have you tonight here, bro. Good to have you here tonight, bro. Crypto legacy. I'm telling you, it's exciting. Celsius. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So, I mean, he said that today, like he just kind of roundabout said of them about, when they go public, like he said it, so, yeah. And so I'm, the accredited investor as a benchmark, and I'm not telling you what to do, but maybe consider that as a benchmark, as a mark, right, to hit, because it opens up some doors for some other stuff. And I don't know when Celsius is going to do another seed funding round, because they just got a lot of cash, and they're maybe 3 to 4 times higher in value as a company. So the deal won't be as great as the first deal, but it still will be an opportunity. You know what I mean? It still will be an opportunity. And yeah, so Alex Mashinsky brought up Tika Tawari, TJ Jackson. He brought up Tika Tawari, Matthew Perez. What's going on, brother? Good to see you tonight. I was like, what? He brought up Tika Tawari? Oh, though you want to talk about two dudes on the opposite end? Oh man, you want to talk about two dudes on the opposite end of there's two dudes. They're on the opposite ends, man. They're on the opposite ends. I have mad respect for both of them, but they are on the opposite ends of stuff. And Tika Tawari, Alex Mashinsky said someone got word to him, or he found out somehow that that Tika changed the 6 coins, or 5 or 6 coins. He changed it. Did you guys know that? XRP Gal, were you on the stream when he said that? He changed one of them, 1 or 2 of them, and he put sell in there as number 3. He put the sell token in there. So that's very interesting. That is a very, very interesting proposition there. I don't know. I don't know XRP Gal. I mean, I don't know. I don't know about Biden. What do you think about the WF and their vision? I love the WS vision. Supposedly Biden's on board. We'll see. It depends on your perspective, Matthew Perez. I say, why limit yourself, right? We have a couple of ledgers, treasures, EliPow, Cobalt, and we have Celsius, right? So why limit yourself? It's better to kind of spread that risk around, right? It's better for. I'm an ambassador for Celsius. I do not put 100% of my assets on Celsius. I would not recommend anybody do that. So as much as I love it, and they both have, for me, I'm comfortable on both things. The Ledger Nano and the hardware, right? The cold storage wallets and Celsius. I'm comfortable. I sleep good at night on both of them. I really, really do. So we have, we just think it's better to split that stuff up, right? Especially on the XRP front, right? Like split that stuff up, right? So, because you just never know what happened. But in terms of the most comfortable, that's another thing. OE312. What's going on right here, my friend? You're speaking my language. I was gonna, I'm gonna try to get Simon Dixon on the channel. I was gonna ask him about this one too. Infinite banking concept plus collateralized debt positions equals generational wealth. I like it. OE312. Appreciate you hanging out tonight. Appreciate you hanging out, my friend. Because I was going to ask Simon. I was going to ask him about, in the traditional, doing the infinite banking concept, as opposed to, the collateralized debt positions in crypto, right? They've been doing that in the traditional space for years, right? But it wasn't individuals as much as it was companies, right, doing it. I was going to ask him about that. Celsius token is coming soon. Well, okay. And you saw XRP as an available coin, XRP Gal, to deposit? Yeah, so Tika Tuari changed it. I mean, yeah. I thought that was pretty interesting. Did he put Celsius as one of his coins? Crypto Roy said, I had to rewind it to hear the intro. I hear you, my friend. Thanks for checking in tonight. And guys, 55 people on the stream tonight. Do me a favor, hit the like and that subscribe if you haven't already. We are on a push to get to 10,000 in a big time way and amp up this algorithm on YouTube for sure, so that we can get more of us, the average Joe and the average Jane, into the digital asset space. Is hugely important. Let me ask you guys this. We got so many veterans in the space here. Do you think there is some value in introduction to crypto as a course or something like that? Do you think there's some value in that? What's going on, Morris Prince? Cryptoverse believer, Stella Moon. Stella's going to the moon. I hope it is, my friend. I really do. What's going on, Joey P4099? What is going on, right? So let me see, where am I here? Let's talk a little bit about the world's vision. I own nothing. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that too, actually, Gal. I saw that. Listen, we have to be prepared, right? Because politics and governments are going to do their thing. What we have to do is exercise our options. But if we're not aware of the options, it's hard to do that, right? So we got to become more and more aware of our options, right? And so I get it. There's a level of having this account that the central banks might be dealing directly with us, right? But if there's digital assets and they're on and off ramps, and there are platforms, fintech platforms that are separate from that, then we can leverage those as well. And so that's going to be that fight, I believe, right? I really truly believe that there's going to be a fight, and we have to know our options and be best prepared for that. Now, some people think the best preparation is 100% BTC, and that's it. Some people think the best preparation is Bitcoin and gold and silver, right? Right. So when I say Bitcoin, I mean digital assets, right? Gold and silver. So Michael Saylor, not such a big fan of gold. So, right. So, but our thing is, how can we be better prepared? Which is why I really like the retirement plan B thing, because it helps, again, on being better prepared. Oh man, I'm missing some super chats here. I apologize. Joey P49, thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. You're always supporting the channel, man, and I appreciate you being here and appreciate you doing that. Thank you for the super chat. I don't know, is it Ada? Well, Aida? Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that, miss. Love it when the women in crypto check in. Absolutely. I got it. Yeah, so it's not there yet. That's what I thought. Not there yet for XRP in New York, not yet. They already have people doing a crypto siege. Doing what, your Marcus out? They already have people doing it. What are they doing? Oh, you mean the courses and stuff? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they do. They do. And I'm just wondering, because I have a really, really good dude. I have a really good, what is it? A guy, what's the word I want to say? Look, he's really, really good at putting courses and stuff together and stuff like that. And I'm kind of deciding if I should just do my own or just maybe get his out, right, to the community, get his out to the space as a whole. I know that it's funny because obviously Ticatore and his thing, they have it, right? I mean, if you got 2,500 or 3,500 or 4,000 to get part of that, or a guy named Mike Dillard, a guy named Mike Dillard has one as well. I don't know how much his is, and then my guy has one. Did I see the Charles Hoskin and but there is room for more, right? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the stimulus package. TD73 said, did you see the Charles Hoskin and Mashinsky tweet? I didn't see it. I do know TD73 that Mashinsky, told his staff to reach out to Hoskinson, see if they can get him on an AMA, and that they were going to, in the future, put Cardano on there. Great. We will set it up. Give me 2 dates that work, and we will have Jason moderate. Are you talking about with the Cardano thing? Yeah, because Alex has an assistant that schedules all of that stuff. Yeah, that's great. Where did that go? That is a great point, Aida. Ada. Needs to be something cohesive. Information is very choppy. You get some info here, some info there. You understand things, but you don't know how to put them together. Crypto is a very strange space. Absolutely. And I know my guy's great at putting courses together in terms of UI, and that type of thing. But I don't know, because I've been in the space since 16. I didn't go through that course. So I don't know how detailed, how informative, that type of deal is. But so we'll see. Mike Dillard, I haven't checked his out. I haven't checked his out either to kind of give it a yay or a nay, that type of deal. But so I most likely I would promote someone else's course. I just want to make sure it's kind of viable in the space, and that people would kind of appreciate it, learning what is Bitcoin, what is an exchange, how to use the exchange, in one spot, in one place. Very similar to what Tika Tawari does. And Tika Tawari's was very, pretty elementary stuff. But it was one's place, right? You just put, $2,500, $3,500 to get access to it, or $5,000. Not so much of a great deal. And that type of deal. Oh, okay. Charles tweeted. Okay, that's cool. Charles tweeted he was down to meet up with Alex and tweeted to set something. Okay, cool. Okay, got it. Of course they should hook up, right? Of course they should hook up, right? 50-something people on the stream. Do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already. Let's talk a little bit. Let's hear a little bit from the macro guys. Let's do that. Let me set some stuff up here. Here's Michael Saylor on Kitco News. Just giving his perspective on the whole reason for why he put 425 million into Bitcoin. Let's listen to him a little bit.
Is negative 10% at least for the next 3 years, and so I imagine. I realize my real yield is negative 10% or more, and so when you 22% if you're holding a long bond, and now I realize that
hold on, let's go here.
Much attention to macroeconomics. And I just thought of it as we had a conservative treasury policy, and we had $500 million or more, and we're going to generate 2 or 3% interest on it, and we'll use it when we need it. But of course, over the past year or so, that interest rate went from 2 to 0, and then everybody woke up to the world of macro.
And so what he's saying here is he had this $500 million in cash reserve for the company. By the way, BlackRock is the majority holder, I believe, in MicroStrategy. BlackRock is. So I don't think that Michael made a decision all by his lonesome to put some money into Bitcoin, put all that money into Bitcoin, right? But he was saying is it wasn't, the long-term goal originally with that 500 million was to just, kind of chill with it and get that 2 to 3% on it every single year, and then adjust, in the years coming up, right? Pivot in the future years. But since everything went to 0, he realized that he had to start looking at a different way, at a different thing to do with that cash.
Macroeconomics this year, because we had the largest intervention of the Federal Reserve maybe in the history of the country. And that drew me into a deep dive, and I started studying the expansion of the monetary supply, and I realized that for the past decade, the monetary supply has been expanding by 7%, and the actual inflation rate on assets is not 2%. The inflation rate on assets is 7 to 8% if you're holding equity, and the inflation rate on a bond is 22% if you're.
So think about that for a second, right? If you're holding equity, the actual inflation is 7 to 8%. So the stuff that you're holding is going to have to do better than that to just be ahead, right? That is some interesting stuff right there, right?
We're holding a long bond. And now I realize that the estimate for the next few years has got to be 10% or more. And so when you start thinking about your cost of capital being 10% and you're holding 500 million in cash that's yielding zero, I realize my real yield is negative 10% at least for the next 3 years.
And so for me, I'm going to stop right there for just a second. That's that thing about going into, right? That's the thing for me about when we keep hearing about these exits into the dollar, right? You see what I'm saying? That thing about talking about going back into fiat, I mean, he's painting the picture there of what it's looking like when people make that decision, right? Now I get it if the loan that you got to pay off is not taken, right? I get it, right? If the loan's not into doing it yet, then that's what it is, right? All right, you get the car note, I don't know, maybe the mortgage, I don't know. If they're not there yet, then you got to do what you got to do. But in living your life and enjoying your lifestyle and establishing wealth, doesn't feel like it's going to be in the fiat dollar, right? Long term, right? Your wealth, what he's really stating there is your wealth will be more sustainable, right? In the digital asset space. That's what he's saying, right? Diesel Hound is in the building. What's going on, my friend? Good to see you. Right? That's right, that XRP gal. That's a great point, and that's just kind of my thing is how are we going to, kind of reach out to the masses and to the people that are not in the space yet? That's the biggest challenge. And then giving them a doorway to begin to learn. That's the challenge. You're absolutely right, XRP gal. The problem with a crypto course is the majority of people that really need it are not watching the live stream. They are clueless. You need to find out where they are and get the course to them. Exactly. You're 10,000% right, XRP gal. That is without question. Let's continue to listen to Michael Saylor.
And so I imagined $150 million getting burned or melted away, and it made me very anxiety-ridden.
Wow. So Michael, when we're talking or when people think about where to diversify and alternative asset classes, the two classes that come to mind and are most popular, of course, Bitcoin and gold. Why not gold, Michael?
I considered gold. And then I started.
Guys, really, really, really listen to it. Now, again, it's not about just taking what he says and saying, oh, okay, that's what I'm going to do. This is about having a different perspective. This is, getting a different view of things, right? So that you can gather in the information yourself and then decide for yourself. But if you're only getting a perspective and a point of view from just yourself or just from people in the digital asset space or just from people in XRP, then you can be limited in your scope, right? You can be limited in your scope.
Studying the two, and then I realized that gold miners are going to produce about 2% more gold every year. And then I realized that there's a possibility over the next 100 years that more than 2% of gold will be increased. But let's just say in the best of the world, for 100 years, we produce 2% more gold. That means $100 million will be debased down to $12.5 million in 100 years. But on the other hand, Bitcoin is exponentially going to infinity stock to flow. There's never going to be more than 21 million Bitcoin. So you're really talking about at most diluting $100 million of Bitcoin by 10 million over the 100 years. And given the fact that Bitcoin is an infinitely hard asset, whereas gold can be produced by human beings given enough incentive, I realized that over the long term, Bitcoin is the harder asset than gold.
Interesting. See, so when I speak to gold bugs, and I speak to many big gold bugs, their main argument right now is when the money starts leaving the bond market, which it already has, it will naturally flow into gold, and that's what will drive gold to $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 an ounce.
Listen to this.
What are your thoughts on that reasoning?
I don't think it's a very intellectually deep argument. For example, I do believe that money will flow from the market to something different. And by the way, gold would be my number 2 choice. But if you double the price of gold, you're going to double the incentive of miners to produce gold. And if gold goes up by a factor of 10,
Let's talk about that argument, and just kind of, I'd love to hear what you guys think about that. If you double the price of gold, you're going to double the incentive to produce more gold. Does that argument or that thesis, does that make sense to you? It does to me. But does it make sense to you guys? Hi, Life Films 2010. How are you? Does that make sense to you guys, right? This is kind of his thinking, that if you double the price of gold, you double the incentive for the miners and the companies who own the mining stock, mining companies to produce more gold. And he's saying, with Bitcoin, I'm gonna let you listen to what he said about the difference between that philosophy with gold and the philosophy with Bitcoin. So what do you guys think? Do you think that Ada says, well, yes, 100%. She 100%. Jamarcus South, you're right. You're right. I need to get someone to kind of help me with more setting up more appointments and hooking up with more people. Christopher Kwame says, makes sense. Absolutely. And thank you for that tweet, my friend. I appreciate you doing that, brother. What do you guys think? Right. XRP Reg says, I see the argument, but miners like to hold gold until the price rises and then put it into the market, right? But what he's saying is they're going to find ways to produce more gold, produce it, like find more, get more, right? Produce more gold. Sean Crosby, Bitcoin mining is not sustainable. Interesting. Right. And so that's an interesting. Has he really? No way. Michael Saylor's been tweeting like an altcoin backholder the last few days. Has he really? Absolutely makes sense, says Jay the Enlightened Warrior. What's good, bro? I love that name. Jay the Enlightened Warrior. Well, there you go. So let's listen to some more, Michael. This is a real interesting thing he says.
Human beings have a way of putting capital into mining and ingenuity, and they'll invent better ways to mine it. And at some point, they'll melt down their jewelry or they'll find other gold. On the other hand, if Bitcoin goes up by a factor of 10, no amount of investment in Bitcoin mining can produce more Bitcoin. It's extremely hard. So the history of commodities, and gold is simply the most pristine of all commodities. The history of commodities is that when the price goes up, human ingenuity and human capital produces more. And we have in front of our face the best example, which is fracking. The country had an oil capacity limit, and we thought it was a problem. And when oil prices got to $100 a barrel, we invented fracking. The amount of oil produced in the United States went from 5 million barrels a day to 10 million barrels a day in 5 years. There's no oil crisis in America anymore. And so really anything that can be produced by people at a high enough price will be produced.
But if we, right, but
I just think for me, that to make complete sense for me. It really, really does. And in a lot of ways. Now, that's not to say that we're not going to hold gold. We are going to hold gold. Okay. Without question. I mean, we held a bunch of gold and silver before we started investing in XRP. But that kind of thinking, it does make sense because it is a human thing. And he's right. The oil and that concept of fracking is 10,000% spot on, because that is exactly what happened, because that is exactly what happened. And what he's pointing out is the human ingenuity when there is a sense or a revelation of scarcity, it just goes to work, right? It stands up, it rises up, right? And it goes to work to figure it out. Now, can we say 1000% with certainty? Anyone feel like they can say with 1000% certainty that there's only going to be 21 million Bitcoin? Like, is that like an algorithm, mathematic, done? It will just stop. It will not be any BTC. Ada says, yep. The same could. Giovanni believe, and by the way, SBI is one of those. Giovanni says the huge BTC mining farms being built in Texas are going to swing the hash rate into the hands of the USA. Well, how about that? Let's hope. Well, we'll see. We'll see if that happens, right? Right. So, I mean, anyone feel like they can say with certainty, 1000% certainty, that there's 21 million Bitcoin to be mined? That's it. Whether it's the algorithm, it's the mathematics behind it, done. It's over. It can't be done. That's what he is saying. What he is saying is, no matter how much money someone puts into the mining of Bitcoin, there's still only going to be 21 million. So you can put $1 billion into doing it, $1 trillion into doing it, is still only going to be 21 million. You see what I'm saying? And that's a monetary policy in so many ways. Life Pillar says he speaks the truth. So, and again, for me, it's not so much for me just buying in to what he says. It's about hearing a different point of view and a different perspective, so I can sit down and I can ponder and I can kind of come to my own conclusion, right? That's what it's kind of about. Yeah, what happens in 2140, which is, we won't be around here, but wonder what's going to happen when it's all mined. I don't know. That's a great question, XRP Regs. Saylor is a salesman without question. And what Saylor does, Sean Crosby, is something that Raoul Paul talks about. There is an economic bias incentive to be. Let me put it this way: there's a reason why people promote their digital asset that they're holding, and they start promoting it. Like there's a default incentive, right? Like there's a reason why Novogratz talks Ethereum is going to be the life changer of all things. There's a reason why Andreas Antonopoulos, in my opinion, talks the way he does, right? Right. There's kind of the reason there's a why is there such a thing as BTC maxis? There's a reason that kind of default to the thing that you hold at because it's a financial incentive. And then there's also fear of losing if your thing doesn't win, right? If your thing doesn't win. And, for me, has always been that Bitcoin, right? It had to go to store value because that's all it has, right? It has to do that. And for me, and I get the monetary policy and I get the genius of the technology. Those are so important. And even what's even more important than that, than the technology, is it gives you and I an option away from the thing that we can't control. Like we can't control the monetary policy that the governments, right, that the central banks, that the politicians, we have no control. We can adjust and pivot once we are made aware of what they do, but we have no control. And the genius of Bitcoin and digital assets is that option, is that other option that we can exercise. And I've said two things on this channel, TJ Jackson. TJ Jackson can attest to these, confirm these. I've said two things on this channel, and I still believe it, is when they, and one of them, the number one thing I said is when they figured out, the powers that be, when the powers that be figured out that they could not stronghold this technology, blockchain technology, distributed ledger technology, once they figured it out, and trust me when I tell you that they tried to. But once they figured out that they couldn't stronghold the technology, then they had to pivot. And in my opinion, central banks and the idea of a central bank digital currency is a form of a pivot. But once they figured out that they couldn't strong on the technology, that the technology was going to innovate around them. Right? So once they figured it out, right? Oh, okay, let's just turn off the internet. Oh, well, that's going to affect everyone, right? Can't turn off the internet. So once they figured out they couldn't stronghold the technology, then they had to pivot. And the other thing I said that is important for us as XRP hodlers, and it's such a big point to see, to understand, is I said that, you know, MoneyGram, the Ripple partnership, MoneyGram and their use of ODL was Wall Street. And so Wall Street, the powers that be, governments, central banks, right? You can just tie that all in together. MoneyGram's use of ODL and the XRP as the digital asset was their proof of concept. It was their proof of concept, right? Because they all get MoneyGram's business. They get it, right? This public company and cross-border payments, this is what they do, all of that, right? And so it was their test. And I've always said it's their proof of concept. It was their proof of concept. Could this digital asset be used in a big way? Could it be used in a small way, right? In low value, high amount of transactions, or could it be used in small amount of transactions and big amount of money? Right? I've always said that those two things are, in my opinion, why we are where we are today and why Ripple is able to do what they're doing. Right? Because they prove themselves and they continue to prove themselves with that XRPL ledger. And trust me when I tell you, it's not a mistake that David Schwartz is in there making some improvements to the XRP ledger. Like, it's not a mistake. There's a reason, absolute reason for that, right? All right, so let's XRP Army Arizona checking in. TJ Jackson, you said somebody give away $1 million in Bitcoin? Did I see you say that? Yeah. Siege, did you see Cash App using Meg the Stallion to give out $1 million worth of Bitcoin? To give away $1 million worth of Bitcoin? No, I did not see that. All right, let me share a little bit from Bank to the Future, because guys, I want you to think about this. And I want you to think Ripple, central bank, digital currency. Let me show you something. No, let's do that. Let me go find it first. Cancel this.
With the saturation of new about anonymity, right? Like, I feel like we'd have to be giving away so much more information. And wasn't this at the heart of money?
What? Huh? Yeah, I was just trying to find something.
What you doing?
I'm still doing my lesson.
You said no. I was trying to find something.
I mean, don't worry, they can't see you. They can't. What happened there?
So they can hear me?
They can hear you.
I don't think that's not awkward at all.
All right, so listen to this. She's going to ask a question here. Let me get. Just check out his answer here.
Really comes in. And this is where currency wars actually become
Not this
a
one.
utility for people, because countries are competing to all get, significance in this new monetary system. And so really by having a currency like Bitcoin, in a sense, it can regulate the regulator, it can regulate the fiat money and create better fiat money, because people have an exit, and that gives more choice. And then people have to create, different forms of money come along.
Simon, I mentioned at the start that you had predicted in your book, written 10 years ago, Bank to the Future, a financial crisis in 2020, which was quite impressive that you had that clairvoyance.
Listen to this, guys.
Your new prediction is that central banks will now bypass banks and be going directly to us. How far away are we from that? And just tell us a little bit more about your forecast here.
Yeah, so for the last decades, I've been investing in financial technology companies, because I believe that in terms of the fiat money, there's two trends that are happening here. There's financial system that's being built outside the financial system. That's Bitcoin. That's all the innovation that's happening there. Then you've got the traditional financial system. And I believe that because of the over-leverage, banks are just going to be taken out of the equation. They can come back and repackage themselves as financial technology companies. But I believe that in the future, the money supply is not going to be M0, M1, M2, and all these crazy complexities, and central banks using policies to try and stimulate how much money banks create through the debt markets. I think it's just going to be M. And that money supply is either going to create inflation and deflation. It's going to be really simple for people to understand, because it's going to be an API key created by the central bank.
There's going to be an API key created by the central bank. I want you to think XRP Ledger, right? And their API capability. And I want you to think about that webinar with Ripple when they did that webinar about maybe a month ago, and they highlighted or they featured their new product for central banks to create their own central bank digital currency on the XRP Ledger. And I ask you, which company has been working with governments and or central banks for the last 3 years? And what did Brad Garlinghouse just state not even 2 or 3 weeks ago about that he knows for certain that central banks are looking to create their central bank digital currency on the XRP Ledger?
It's going to be algorithmic monetary policy, and financial technology companies are going to be able to build the technology on top of it.
Financial tech companies are going to be able to build it, right? And remember, in the webinar, I don't know if you guys remember, but in the webinar, it said monetary policy and regulatory policy, I believe, on there. You could put it, you could literally like create it in that product that Ripple has. Interesting. Now, for us as XRP hodlers, right, that's great news for XRP hodlers, right? It really is being built on the ledger. What we got to look at is what does that look like overall in the bigger picture, and how can we position ourselves, right? Because just because the central bank wants to create a central bank digital currency, that doesn't mean that it's in our best interest.
And really replace the role of banking. The central bank doesn't want to deal with customer service, but it can release the technology for financial technology companies to actually build and all of the services that the traditional financial system has. The banks can play their role in that, but they will look very different to how they look today.
Powerful, powerful, powerful statement. And again, I highlight this guy because he wrote this book in 2010, and he called the 2020 thing that is going on today. He called it in that book in 2010. It's called Bank to the Future. And again, this guy's hugely successful, was in Bitcoin and doing Bitcoin talks in 2011 and 2011. He's invested in Kraken, Coinbase, Ripple, I believe Uphold, right, in the fintech company. So he's putting his money right where his mouth is, in these fintech companies, right? It really is. So it's a very interesting point. And to me, what he just said there about the central banks and this whole API thing, right? And to me, that speaks exactly to what Ripple is doing. Why in the heck would Ripple put a job opening, a position for hire to deal with central banks and creating a central bank? They said it in the job opening, a central bank digital currency on the ledger. On the ledger. Why would they do that? And again, this guy's invested in Ripple. I don't know what he knows. I don't know who he talks to. I don't know if he's got Brad or David or Chris on speed dial. I have no idea. Right? But that's an interesting call on his part. It really, and he's not the only guy that I've heard say that they kind of go around the banks, right, and deal directly with us, and that the banks will have to find a different role. We've said on this channel time and time again that if the banks had 10 things to do, if they had 10 roles in their model, that's going to get dwindled down to like 1 or 2, right? Because Uphold's going to do some stuff, right? Robinhood's going to do some stuff. Circle's going to do some stuff. Square, what is that? The Square, Cash App, they're going to do some different things, right? And that bank, the traditional bank, they're going to have to, just like he said, reinvent themselves and find a different place, right? Or maybe become a fintech themselves in a way. Doesn't it feel like that's what's going on? Doesn't it really feel that way? Right? Because a lot of the banking activities today you can do on your app, right? You don't necessarily need that bank, right? I mean, what is that? Cash App is a great example of that. I mean, it's essentially a free checking account, right? So, you know, again, for XRP hodlers, what the central banks are looking to do is great for us. In that respect, if we hold XRP, but in the bigger picture, what might be lost in having a wallet that's tied directly to the central bank? What might be lost? We have to look at that as well. Is it privacy? Is it, you know, the potential for, you know, whatever? Are we giving up a measure of control and privacy? We have to consider that as well. And the great thing about the digital asset space is we have other options, right? We have other options. And the most important thing I think to understand is, you know, when there's banks, when you get the whole banks are not our friends thing, right? We got to really think about what banks, because it's not my community bank that's down the street from where I live, right? It's not your regional bank that is in all the cities of your state, right? The banks, in my view, the banks are Citi, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, those dudes, in my opinion, those are the banks that are not our friends, right? In my view, those are the banks that are not our friends. And again, the great thing about this fourth industrial revolution is that the invention of Bitcoin, that technology and that monetary policy behind it has given us options, has given us another option. And so that to me is the biggest thing that Bitcoin did and has done, is given us that other option, the other option. And I think that, you know, the powers that, or I think that the super rich, they get it, they understand that, and that they know when we figure out, when we think about what's going on with the printing and the Federal Reserve and all the other countries doing the same type of printing, realizing that this fiat world is about to come to an end and that we do have other choices. And right now that big player is BTC. They're starting to open their eyes to the fact that there's going to be massive value in that. Right? It's going to be massive value in that. Are you guys talking about something here amongst yourself? Okay, I got you. Yeah, you are. What's going on, Black Impact? Good to see you, my friend. Nope. Oh, you guys talking about something else there. Yeah, talking about that Tesla stock. Shamath from Facebook, that billionaire guy, is a big fan of what's going on in the Tesla ecosystem. What a time to be alive. We love you too, bro. Jay Enlightened Warrior. What's up, Jay the Enlightened Warrior? You have a good time with your friend? So I just, again, guys, some really, really great food for thought. I'm not going to be able to get to the third guy. Maybe in another stream I will. But again, it's kind of a macro guys, investors view. And I'm going to definitely give you more input on feedback from my checking out retirementplanb.com and going through that. It's very, very, very interesting stuff from this guy, Simon Dixon from Bank to the Future. Again, guys, I hope you take the time to level up your XRP IQ, your digital asset space IQ, and your traditional space IQ, because the most important thing that we can do to not only create generational wealth, but keep it is to prepare. Right? We got to be prepared. We got to take our game to another level so that we can, maintain that generational wealth and obviously teach our family how to do the same thing. All right, guys, listen, I am going to wrap this up. It's been a cool hang on a Friday night. For sure, I'm going to go spend some time with Little Miss Crypto Siege, and I'm going to talk about her day. So guys, listen, never forget this. And again, we appreciate you guys hanging out tonight. Cadillac, thanks for checking in. It's good to see you, miss. And Ada, I hope I'm saying your name right. Thank you so much, XRP Rags, for hanging out. That's right. You're right about that, XRP Rags, about the Flare Network. I believe the same thing. Martin 958, thanks for hanging in there, hanging out tonight. Morris Prince, thanks for showing up. As always, brother, we appreciate you. And all the guys that checked in today, all the gals and guys, thanks for hanging out with the Crypto Siege on a Friday night. Listen, guys, never, ever forget this. And that is that old money doesn't want you to win. And by the way, guys, if you did email to me today about our product launch and stuff like that and weight management lifestyle, I will return the email. I just haven't had a chance to check them out yet. All right, guys, listen, never ever forget this. Old money doesn't want you to win. They don't want us to win. They would rather us remain a cog in their perpetual wheel of trading our time for dollars. They don't want us to play in the same playground that they play in, where we allow our money to work for us. This is our chance to win, guys. The digital asset space is our chance to win. We are in the midst of the greatest transfer of wealth in the history of man. Are you participating, or are you standing on the sidelines? Here's what I do know, that the battle for you has already been fought, and the victory is yours. Go get it. I'll talk to you soon, guys. See ya. Bye.